Okay, you have your Foley cues recorded. Now let's talk about dialogue and doing dialogue replacement. This is going to be focusing on how to record it though, not how to write it. You do not want to ask me for tips on what to write. It would be basically bad, pure lyrics and poetry warmed over. I am not a good dialogue person. But for your projects, you will need to replace the dialogue for the clip you're using. Normally, dialogue would be recorded in situ during the shooting of the film using a combination of lav mics and a shotgun on a boom. But in post-production, there's a very important step called automated dialogue replacement, or ADR, where the actors are brought in again to re-record the lines that need to be improved, are out of sync with the film, have some sort of technical issue with the audio, etc. This is also where any and all foreign dubs, animated voice work, professional singing, dubbing over an untrained actor, or any editing of language for TV occurs. And this is what you'll be doing as you need to replace all of the dialogue in the clip you're working with. So, the dialogue, as I've stated many times before, is the most important part of the film's sound. It tells the story, it advances the narrative, it is where the action is communicated to the audience. It has to be at the forefront of the mix, but how do you do that? Well, you use panning. You can map all of the dialogue to occur at the rough position of the characters speaking. You can use a slight amount of reverb to push things back in the mix. And you can carve a place in the track using EQ for the voices. You're not going to need anything under 200 hertz, so why not just high pass it there? But make sure that the enunciation is clear. If you have mumble, yeah, you can't hear what they're saying. You can't pick out distinct words. Re-record it. Make sure the enunciation is clear. One of the big things you want to do is to make sure that the dialogue is recorded on axis, pointing directly into the capsule of the mic. This is the single biggest issue both in original tracking and in ADR. You will want to use a pop filter at all times. Remember, if you don't have one, you can make one very easily by getting a coat hanger, bending it, assuming it's wire, and putting pantyhose or some other thin, stretchable cloth on it in order to make a pop filter. You do not want plosive consonants and sibilants getting into your dialogue track. Ideally, to record these, you want to keep the microphone an extended hand's width away. So, thumb all the way to the pinky, between the lips and the microphone. If you're doing ADR, you need to make sure that it syncs to the character's lips accurately. And do not be afraid to re-record as many times as you need to. For mic choices, it depends on the situation as to where you're recording. Are you recording in an apartment with a bunch of people coming and going through the halls, or in a noisy room? Get a dynamic. That is going to be your best choice for a noisy room, especially if you get an extremely on-axis polar pattern like a supercardioid. I would highly recommend that. For condensers, a large diaphragm condenser will need some space, or you will get a proximity effect bass boost that can be kind of unwieldy. Keep in mind that LDCs will color the sound, but will get the best dynamic range. This is one of the traditional choices for ADR along with a shotgun mic. If you are needing to record something with a lot of transient responses, a small diaphragm condenser will be better than a large diaphragm. This would be, for example, if you had someone who is beatboxing and you're going to record that as part of your ADR. Ribbons can be a great choice because they take EQ so well, but you will need to coach the actor how to behave in front of a ribbon. They are extremely on axis and can really, really detect a shift when the actor moves their head left or right. Shotguns, however, are exceptional for getting mono audio. Traditionally, this is the mic used for ADR along with the large diaphragm condenser. If you have access to a shotgun, great. If not, you'll probably go for the large diaphragm condenser.